And looks like we're live again. I don't expect this will be a long one today. Any minute, my little alarm might go off, and I'll have to come bounding to his rescue. Even half an hour would be cool. I'll be lucky to get 10 minutes. Just eating some leftover Easter eggs. Fun times are in, eh? Juke the Duke. It's gonna create a voice chat party if anyone rocks up. Everything's running really slow today. I'm paying for 200 megabit download speed, and I rarely get anywhere near that. Alright, back in, let's have some drinks. Righto. Last time I didn't get to read the emails and stuff, so I might do that now. Jeez. What do we got? Anything left outside America? Sam, thanks again. You've done a great deal of things to keep ticking here at the weather station, which we appreciate. And the Chiral network, it's incredible. If you can continue to expand the coverage with your qubit, it won't be long before we have a real-time tracking of meteorological so the internet's not great at the moment, it's telling me. Oh, we'll see how we go. Real-time tracking of meteorological phenomena all over the continent. We still won't have much of an idea of what's going on elsewhere, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that. And while I may be chasing rainbows, I still hope we can get a view from above the clouds one day. It's crazy. No one really knows what happened to the rest of the world, even now. Maybe the stranding destroyed everything except America. Maybe we're the only ones stranded in clouds of chiral matter, and the rest of the world is carrying on without us. Or maybe the whole damn universe got wiped out, and we're all that's left, floating in space. Alright, that last one's just me being a pessimistic ass. But the point stands, we need to know what's out there, and to do that we need to bring the whole continent into the network. You're our best hope, Sam. Our only hope, in fact. God damn. Slaves to the wheat. Dear Sam, seems we've grown more wheat than we can harvest. More than a bot could handle even. Say, have you been making use of that new Odradek feature we shared with you? A friend of ours developed it especially for us so that we could analyze the soil and choose the best spots for growing wheat. Ours got lost in the terrorist attack on Middle Knot City. Still, we can definitely vouch for how useful it was. Be sure to give it a try if you haven't already. I'm guessing they're talking about that one where you send the signal back to them. I don't know. Anywho, we've been doing some light reading to try and figure out what to do with our bumper crop. Turns out the history of wheat is actually quite fascinating. Did you know it was originally a strain of grass native to the Middle East? That's right, but it wasn't until our ancestors began to cultivate it that it really came into its own. It turned hunters into farmers overnight, changing the evolution of mankind. Homo sapiens settled down in one place and stockpiled food, rather than chasing it all over creation. And with the stability came society, culture, religion, all courtesy of one little old wheat. But it wasn't a one-way street, oh no. Wheat, made out like a bandit, that obscure Middle Eastern grass would end up spreading to all four corners of the globe. You could even say it was wheat that used us, and not the other way around. In fact, some scholars say just that we became slaves to wheat. What do you think about that? Are we about to become slaves all over again? I sure hope not. What's great and all? Wheat's great and all, but dear Sam, thanks for stopping by again. I'm sure it was plain enough to see that this farming experiment of ours has been a runaway success. Tell you what, if Emily never took such an interest in our research, and you never put us in touch with the weather station folks, none of this would have been possible. Thanks to you, you will be able to provide a constant supply of food for one and all. Having said that, this life isn't exactly the one we had in mind. We came here to study the effects of timefall on plant life. We never intended to stick around and become farmers. But then we got to thinking it might be possible to reclaim crater soil, and one thing led to another. I don't know if Emily expected we'd stay here long, and we're still keen to continue our research. We've got more to offer the world than wheat, but if we don't move on, what does that mean we really have become slaves to it after all? The age of printed nukes. I used to have this prepper friend, an old guy, who would always talk about how the good old days before the Stranding, 3D printing was all the rage, apparently, and the tech could be used to spit out pretty much anything you could think of, even the most complicated stuff. It didn't take long for the first gun to be printed. All you had to do was input the right data, and you had yourself a firearm. People didn't think much of it at first, just kids messing around, and all that. But it didn't stop there. Printed guns became printed bombs, and printed bombs became printed nukes. Illegal as hell, of course, but the government couldn't do anything to stop it. If you've got no idea who's packing a nuke, the best course of action is to make sure that you're packing one yourself, right? That's how people thought back then. Anyway, mutually assured destruction for every honest citizen. People saw enemies everywhere, terrorists, sleeper cells, all that shit. And then there was an explosion. The Death Stranding had nothing to do with nukes. Of course, but people were pretty quick to jump to the wrong conclusion. Almost everyone assumed it was terrorism. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, this old timer, he didn't want anything to do with other people. He just wanted to shut himself in his shelter and be left alone. He was scared. Everything that came before had led to a world filled with weapons. I could see where he was coming from, thinking society and government were doomed to fail. But I'm more optimistic. As long as we remember the mistakes of the past as we strive for a better future, I believe we can prevent another explosion. Guess what I'm saying is I'm fully aware of the risks, but I think we've got to give the UCA a shot. Order delivery for a prepper. I have a delivery request for you. There's a prepper out there who's got a special talent, calls herself a cosplayer, and she can apparently dress herself up to look like damn near anyone and anything. There's no one better when it comes to designing and making clothes and accessories, but she needs a new sewing kit to finish her current project. Would you find one and deliver it to her? I'm pretty sure she'd have something interesting to offer you in return. Thanks. Carl Art. We got married. How are you holding up, Sam? You must have walked more than 1,000 miles by now. Try not to let it get to you. I'm sure it must be lonely work. Well, anyway, I wanted to get in touch and tell you that we got married. Love hearts. I know. Who gets married this day and age, right? But through the Coral Network, we got in touch with a priest and we said our vows, and that was it. Silly, maybe, but it seems to have brought smiles to a few faces. So thanks for making it possible. We owe you more than we can say. I'm just going to share this video to Facebook. Alright. Car artist's mother. Please look out for them. Dear Sam, wonderful news. My daughter's getting married. Though you've probably been wondering, we're not related at all. I've never even been married, let alone had any kids. I took her in 5 or so years back, after her parents died. She could barely speak a word of English. Her parents had been Japanese, but we managed in our own way. It's funny, until the moment we met, I thought I was destined to live out my life all alone. But as I laid eyes on her, that changed. I knew in my heart that I had to protect her, make sure that no one ever hurt her. So I ended up doing that to myself by being too overprotective in the end. I've tried to make up for it. My daughter's leaving the nest at last, and I couldn't be happier for her. All I can do is pray and hope for the best, and I'd be awful grateful if you could look in on her and her husband from time to time, just to make sure they're doing okay. George Batten. A strange light at the incinerator. This is going to sound crazy, but you've got to believe me, Sam. I was at the incinerator. They'd found a body near the way station, and it needed to be burnt. Since we don't exactly have a team of corpse disposal guys on call, I was given the job. I've been outside more than the other guys lately, so it makes sense. It wasn't like I could say no, someone had to do it. Doesn't mean I wasn't scared shitless though. I don't have dooms or anything, but you don't need special powers to know when a BT's caught your scent. I could tell they weren't far behind. I just wanted to get the job done and come here. But then one of the fuckers popped up out of nowhere and nearly gave me a heart attack. Somehow I made it into the incinerator without getting grabbed, and that's when things got really weird. I saw this glowing thing, this light, I guess. I wanted to take a closer look, but I wasn't about to take any chances. I had to get the hell out of there. I can't stop thinking about it now though. You should check it out if you have the chance. Right. Engineer. If I could paint a BT's picture. Maybe an engineer by trade, but I'm not half bad at painting either. You know, with pens and brushes and all that. Learned it all from my mother. With the right tools and enough time, I can faithfully recreate what I see on paper, or whatever elaborate vistas I can envision with my mind's eye. Which got me thinking, what if I made a picture of a BT? I believe that what makes them so terrifying is that we don't know what they look like. So if someone with dooms like you could describe what you saw, I could give your words shape and colour, and maybe we'd be a little less afraid. Might even be able to coax a few shut-ins outside for a bit. But even if we can't change them, I know you've changed me. Thanks for everything, Sam. Don't be a stranger. You did it, Sam. You beat the mules. It's really quiet around the distro centre these days. I guess you must have put those mules in their place. How the hell did you manage that? How the hell did you manage to walk around an entire continent and never have to kill anyone? I mean, that was the one thing you couldn't do, right? Kill someone, and that's another creator to deal with. Anyway, I don't know how you did it, but I'm grateful. Our bots are way more useful than they used to be, and it's all down to you. Cosplayer, be sure to use your otter hood. That otter hood I made for you is pretty special. I know because I tested it out myself before putting it on. Transform into an otter, and I'm not talking about your appearance. You literally become one with the water. Did you notice that I even put a Bridges logo on it for you? That's proof that no one else has done anything like it. I'm so happy that I'm able to help support your work. Us humans should strive to live in harmony with nature. We won't survive long if we're always fighting against it. We need to go with nature's flow, surrender ourselves to the natural rhythms of the world. That's what I think anyway. That's why I got into cosplay. I wanted to lose myself in a character, let the character take over. Some people think it's just an excuse to wear fancy clothes, and they're missing the point. It's an art, the art of transformation. We should all embrace our place in the world. There was a time when I tried to stay apart from it all, but after meeting my beloved, my eyes have been opened, and that's why I've decided I'm going to sign a contract with Bridges and see where that takes me. Wandering MC. I swear that's Conan O'Brien. Has to be. Have you used your otter hood? When I was younger, I was something of a professional host. Here we go. I travel all over the country and speak at events, meeting interesting people and so on. In my little way, I was helping bring America together too. I really believe that. Sure, I was scared of BTs, but I had lots of porter friends, so we used to travel together from city to city. They called me the wandering host. I remember the first time I was asked to take part in a cosplay event. I didn't really understand the concept at first, but that event opened my eyes and showed me how wonderful cosplay could be. Most people are skeptical, but it's something you can't understand unless you've experienced it for yourself. Total transformation into someone or something else. I was an instant convert. Started running my own cosplay events, trying to get everyone to see how amazing it really is. It was at one of these events that I met my girl. Her costumes are incredible, on a whole nother level. It's not just her technique either, it's her spirit, her soul. She's transcended into a higher plane. Anyway, she's the one that who made that otter hood. Maybe you've already noticed, but putting it on will pretty much turn you into an otter. That's sure to be useful at some point, right? I want to share her passion with the whole world. That's why I persuaded her to hook up to the Hyrule Network and join the UCA the next time you drop by. With my people skills and her designs, we'll get the whole country on the cosplay train before you know it. Alright, maybe I should try this thing. Look. It's not there. Oh, there's a couple more things I should probably look at. prepper interview the junk dealer. Incredible, isn't it? This hourglass. See how the sand flows upwards? Got chiral particles in it. That's why it moves like that. Look at the shape of the glass. So elegant, so delicate. Just like the girl who made it. Hard to believe it's even of this world, but it was made by human hands. Alright. Crazy, isn't it? No wonder everyone in South Knot City knows her work. You can imagine how I felt when she gave it to me. I guess you could say it was a thank you present. She asked me to fix something for her, and this is what I got in return. You know, I've done jobs for all kinds over the years, but none of my other customers ever did anything like this for me. Most'll just toss you a couple of likes, and that's the end of it. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a like or two. It's just this was different. The moment she gave me this hourglass, I knew I wanted to be with her. Never happened though. I ain't cut out for love and relationships. Don't have what it takes. Other people kind of scare me, to be honest. Still, even if we can't be together, at least I have this hourglass. Yeah, righto. Hmm.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure. All clear. Welcome, Sam.
So, maybe I can fabricate the otter hood. Maybe it's in tips. like there's a little body waking up. Looks like that's my call. Catches.